Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spurs from the Stands. I am, of course, Sarah, and today we are going through the game tomorrow, the preview for the much-awaited game, Tottenham Hotspur versus Atletico Madrid, in which in the first leg, Tottenham Hotspur were down 5-2, and so we go into what you could say the second half 3-0, and it is a beautiful sunny day outside, even still at 4:45 in the evening here in the UK, which is a massive turn of events considering we've had a really terrible year so far in terms of the weather. Hello to all of you jumping in right now. I'm just getting the chat up so I can see some of you here in the chat already. Great. Are we all good to go? How are we all feeling about tomorrow night? I really hate the neckline of this shirt. I don't know if that's like a non-official shirt type thing. But anyway, how are we all feeling today? How are we all feeling? I don't know if I can see the comments coming through. Got some feedback. Have I got the comments up? Am I live? Am I live? Is the stream okay? Is the signal okay? Oh dear. I think we're okay. Cool. So I just want to do a quick welcome to the COYS Collective. So for those of you that were asking, what is the COYS Collective? The COYS Collective is, of course, the membership for the Spurs from the Stands community. So I want to welcome aboard, and bear with me because I can't remember who I've already done or not, but welcome to Andrew Johnson, 5276. Welcome to Rob Pedini. Welcome to Amatrine Moon. Kem6291, Miguel Lopez, K3N4D, and Andy Seeley, 4972. So welcome to all of you who have joined the COYS Collective over the last week. And apologies if I've missed anyone out while I was, over the past few weeks when I was doing the membership shout out. So welcome to you all to the COYS Collective. I hope that the future is much brighter than it has been over the last few days. And of course, we've heard today from Igor Tudor. So we're going to go through today a little bit of a match preview ahead of that game. Going to look at the lineup and also just have a quick discussion about the press conference, injury updates, and all of that jazz. So if you're joining us for the very first time, do like, subscribe, comment, share. I've made this chat so that it's subscribe only to chat. So we filter out some of those bots who are circling around us. And what else did I wanted to say before I dive into it and go off track? I don't think there was anything for now. Oh yes, update on the SOS campaign. Some of you were asking me about where that was at. Let me just have a double check. Let me just have a double check. If it's going to work. We're currently up to 290 emails. 290 emails that have been sent to the board. So not bad job, guys. Great job. Hopefully we can get to 1,000 by the end of the month. And of course, obviously, we know that the protest's been cancelled this weekend, but we have more pressing matters. Exactly, Callie. Exactly. Welcome to the Spurs from the Stands tribe. The players are returning. We can begin to celebrate, breathe a little bit. We obviously had that relief on the weekend with that 1-1 draw against Liverpool. There's been so much sort of noise around how bad Liverpool were, and so Spurs don't really deserve any credit for taking a point out of that game. I completely disagree. I think considering where we've been at the season at the moment, in the moment that we're in, I think it was a massive point for us, and it cannot be underestimated, because sometimes it's not about having the most beautiful performance. Sometimes it's about just keeping your head in the game, not dropping your head. And how many times this season have we seen us go 1-0 down or take the lead and then completely throw the game away? So I think that was a massive point for us. And so for all the naysayers out there, yes, Vicario could have maybe done a bit better. And I know there's still a lot of people who have been stating Vicario off the back of that, but I would also say that he kept us in the game. He saved us on multiple occasions. And is he going to be the guy tomorrow? Who's going to be in goal? Maybe guys put your predictions in the comments, who we think that the goalkeeper is going to be tomorrow, and also the squad as well. So Look, I'll kick off talking about the press conference that was just now. So I was watching that, which is why I was a little bit delayed today. So, of course, Mickey van der Ven was in the press conference with Igor Tudor. I love it when Mickey van der Ven goes in the press conferences. He's such a good communicator and he's so level-headed. And it was such a blessing to hear him say that even the players are getting very frustrated that the press keeps spinning these rumors that the players want to leave the club. So look, Mickey van der Ven coming out saying he didn't say whether he's going to stay or not. And of course, he hasn't renewed his contract yet. So if that's the case and he's planning on staying, well, Mickey, we're all looking to you to renew your contract. But look, that aside, I think it was very good that he came out, that he addressed it in the public domain, that he came out and said, look, it's annoying. It's trouble for us. It's causing more trouble for us that the press keeps spinning the narrative that the players want to leave. And of course, on the positive side of that, Archie Gray and Pedro Porro have been two players where speculatively in the press, it's come out that they would stay if in a doomsday scenario, the club got relegated. But from the sounds of what Mickey was saying, a lot of the news that we're reading at the moment around the players is in fact just manufactured content. Basically, it's just manufactured content for the journalists to keep this spin going that the players aren't happy. And it's so great to hear that they do have the fight, that they're up for the fight. And I believed Mickey. Call me naive, call me jaded, call me whatever you want. I want to believe him. And so the way that that's going to happen is he's got to show himself on the pitch tomorrow. And from the sounds of it, he's going to be captain if he was in the press conference, because of course we've seen Pedro Porro be the captain for the two previous games. And so it would be good to see Mickey come back in. Now, the positives and the upsides in that press conference, it transpired that both Bergvall and Udogie are going to be on the bench tomorrow. Hallelujah. Finally, at last, we have Bergvall, one of our best creative midfielders, back in the squad. And I love Bergvall. We have missed him so much. For me, I don't know, let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of Bergvall. But for me, he is one of our better midfielders. And we desperately need his talent in the squad right now. And in the same breath, I think Destiny Udogie, natural left footer. We need him as left back. We play so much better when he's on the pitch in general, for me personally. So I think it's fantastic news that Bergvall and Destiny are both in the squad. It also provides us with rotation, more competition in the squad. It allows the players to take a bit of pressure off them, because we know this injury crisis keeps propelling and getting worse and worse. So the more players you can get back and quickly, it means that you can rotate the squad and take a little bit pressure off. Now, of course, this might be the game tomorrow. This might be the last game we play midweek for a very long time. And no, I'm not talking about Championship. I'm talking about Champions League. So, tomorrow night is going to be a big night under the lights. We're all excited for it, despite the fact going into this 3-0 down at halftime. So the other good news is that Romero is back training with the squad. He was pictured in training, and Igor Tudor confirmed that he will be starting tomorrow. So we would imagine that Mickey van der Ven and Romero will be in the back line. Paulinho was training on his own, as was Madders. So I assume that Paulinho still maybe has a bit of concussion, and I would assume that Maddison is probably a little way off of coming back in. However, it's great to see him back in the dressing room, because even just having a character like Maddison around, obviously we know that for the past couple of weeks he's been around in the back room and sort of in the dressing room and things like that. So Maddison is one of those characters you need to have in the squad, and we've seen him on the sidelines as well in the past few games as well. So that's promising to see him back in the back room as well. What other news there was? Yes, so Igor Tudor said that this game tomorrow is not impossible. And he even said to dare. He even said to dare. So Igor Tudor's well on board with the slogans at Tottenham Hotspur right now, isn't he? He's well on board with it. And look, I like the way Igor Tudor's speaking. I think he does keep a cool, calm head. Of course, this is my opinion. You guys can let me know if you're one of those people who thinks that Tudor maybe isn't necessarily keeping a cool, calm head. But for me, I think the way that he communicates and the way that he speaks in these press conferences is just very level-headed. And if he shows that leadership inside the dressing room when they're in training and things like that, I think that personality then filters down to the players. And ultimately, what we need right now is players to feel empowered. So something I've been thinking about a lot is like, how do you get the players to perform the best? And you have two different approaches when it comes to management, right? You have this management style that's manager style, that's like very structured. And I think Thomas Frank fell under that bracket. It was like, you stand in these positions, you hit the ball here, you do this here. And it's like literally Frank was basically hitting every ball as he was like instructing or coordinating on the sidelines. Whereas someone like Ange, and maybe even someone like Igor Tudor, I don't think we've seen enough of him yet. They're more leadership style. And with leadership style, you actually lead from the back. And that sounds very contradictory in a game of football when you need organization and structure. But what I mean by that is that you are empowering the players to have the freedom to sit in a position and keep control and discipline. But that is where you see the expansion of play, because then the players feel empowered to make creative passes, to hold down their lines in a certain position in a certain way, which is going to help defend the game and also attack the game. So I think that Igor Tudor is one of these characters that is a bit like half. He's very much like, we need to get the basics right, back to basics, do the basics, man your back line, stop conceding stupid goals. And arguably, if it wasn't for that Vicario save, maybe Liverpool, we wouldn't have conceded a goal, but that's the way it fell. And on the flip side of that, it's also about being disciplined, but allowing yourselves to have a bit of fun while you're out there. Because as I said before, football should be fun, right? If the players aren't having fun, you can see that they're not enjoying themselves. And that is when their heads drop, because they just lose momentum and they get disheartened with what they're trying to do. And it is it's a state of mind at the end of the day. It's completely a state of mind. And you know what, guys? I was looking back over in the community tab. I was going to do something today, but we're going to do it tomorrow. Special feature. Actually, maybe not tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But I was going to do a special feature for you guys, which we'll put a pin in it. I won't spoil it. I always overshare. So I don't want to spoil it. But I was looking back over some of the songs that you guys were putting in the community tab. I asked you guys, what song would you use to summarize Spurs right now? And the songs, guys, they were so depressing. And I was thinking to myself, this was 7 days ago. I was thinking, wow, football is so mad that like after 7 days, how much things can change. Like you just do a complete 180. And there were some really interesting songs on there. So go get your songs in, write them now how you're feeling 1 week later, maybe on that thread. Because the song that's coming to my mind now is Chumbawamba. Was it called Tub Thumping? Does anyone in the chat know what song that is? Does anyone know the lyrics to that song? Chumbawamba, Tub Thumping. Anyone know it in the chat? I'd be curious to know if anyone knows the lyrics and which song I'm referring to. And then I'll give you a little sing. No, I'm not going to do that. But let's see if anyone knows. I think there's a bit of a lag. There we go. You guys get it. 90s classic. Exactly. I get knocked down, but I get up again. No one's going to keep me down. 100%. So that should be the new Spurs anthem, I think. And do you know what the funny thing is? I went over to that song because I had it in my head the other day after we drew, and I was like, yeah, now's the time. Change the track. Sometimes you change the track, change the course. And I was going over and I had a look at that song and I had to listen to it. It was jumping up and down. And all of the comments were like, I'm here after we've lost 10 games in a row. There's like 115 million views on that song. And there were so many football fans going on there, writing in their comments, I'm here in March 2026. And I wondered to myself, are they Spurs fans? So it just shows you exactly. Yeah, you guys know what I mean. So maybe we can all have a dance along to that song later. Sing it. Sing it. I don't know if you want to hear me sing it, to be completely honest, but I feel like that's what we need, a bit of spirit, team spirit, get behind the team. We get knocked down, but we get up again. It's never going to keep us down. We drink a whiskey, what is it? We drink a whiskey drink, we drink a cider drink. Songs that remind me of the good times, songs that remind me of the bad times. Anyway, I won't deafen you all. But yeah, that's kind of what it feels like right now. So I'm putting my white flag down. There's no more Dido. There's no more Dido. We're not doing the white flags anymore. We're on it. So Staying Alive by the BG. Terrible song. sorry, Renegade. If you come up with one better, we'll feature it. Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. Yes. Oh, Johnny boy. Yes. Oh, is it Johnny or Danny? I don't know. Oh dear. Crazy times. Yeah, go to the thread on the community tab after, and yeah, let me know what your songs are, because it's just crazy. It really is really wild how stuff can just change so quickly in the blink of an eye with football, especially when you've been on like I was talking, I don't know if any of you saw last night, I did a podcast with Oso Spurs with Jim. I love the podcast with Jim. Massive shout out to Jim from Oso Spurs. I love our podcast together because of all the fan shows that we do. The Oso Spurs one with Jim, I feel like they're really constructive conversations, and it's a lot more level-headed. It's no like, people just having a go at each other. We're just debriefing the game, and Stu was on it last night as well. So go over and check over after this if you want the debrief from the game with Oso Spurs. Love those guys. Really, really doing a good job over there. So hopefully we'll do some more collabs together as well, because I love their energy. So more power to them. But anyway, right, on to tomorrow. So how are we all feeling about the game tomorrow? Let me just check the chat. How are we all feeling about tomorrow? Are we excited? Are we like defeatist mentality? Is this a throwaway game? I think a little bit. The game tomorrow is a bit of a throwaway game, because I think the game at the weekend needs to take priority. So, yeah, let's see what you guys are saying. The girl gaffer, welcome back. Oh, welcome back, the girl gaffer. I won't reveal who you support, but we all know. To be fair, I did say that we've been talking low of Spurs, and what if they actually got something out of miracles? Well, it's in our slogan, it's in our DNA. We've heard crazier things than recovering from situations like this before. So you never know. Another Amsterdam. Who knows? Maybe Mickey's going to play left back and he's going to do a Gareth Bale. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. Can you imagine if he played Mickey van der Ven at left back and he did a Gareth Bale? That would be insane. Or like Richie had like a Lucas Moura relegation. Richie, to be honest with you, I don't think Richie's going to start this game, if I'm completely honest, but we'll talk about the lineup in a little bit. But for me, I don't think Richie starts this one. It's all about Sunday. So some of you are saying Sunday. Hey, Richard. Some of you are saying that, beating Forest is a bit more of a priority. Of course, that's the priority right now. Good afternoon to all Spurs addicts. We definitely are addicts, aren't we? It's like the situation gets worse and we keep coming back for more. It's like we just can't stay away, whether willingly here or just morbidly curious of how dealing with our love of THFC, indeed, exactly, that's what it is, isn't it? To win the tie, that would need a mighty effort and need the fresh for Sunday. Yeah, it is going to be a big ask tomorrow. It is. But look, you're going down 3-0 at halftime. We're at home. We're not down and out. If it was 5-0, you'd be like, look, it's pointless. But we're not down and out. And I was also thinking, actually, I'm just going to double check, because the under 21s played Sunday as well. I think it was Sunday. No, the under 21s, played yesterday. They actually lost to Leeds United. Leeds United scored in the 75th minute, and they had a player sent off. So the under 21s is also very unsettled right now. And sometimes what you see is with like the youth or the academy, when you have this situation where we're going through a transition now where we actually need the youngsters training with the first team and in the squad sitting on the bench, they're not playing in the under 21s. And so potentially maybe a reason why, and look, I'm speculating here, but sometimes what you can see is the pressure on the under 21s means that you have a different squad for the under 21s, and maybe they're suffering because a lot of those players are transitioning into the first team. So given that they played yesterday, I'm just looking. So it looks like there was no Byfield on the bench. Yeah, so everyone that was, all the kids that were on the bench on Sunday's game. So you're looking at Roswell, you're looking at Ulasesi and Wilson. Those three weren't in the lineup or didn't play in the under-21s, which would mean that I would assume they're going to be ready or at least named in the squad tomorrow. Whether we're going to see any more youth players, it's going to be very interesting to see, because we have had, look at the game last year. Was it against Elfsborg where the kids came on? Mikey Moore, Ulasesi, and was it Ajayi? They all came on and they all scored. I want to give people their flowers, the kids their flowers, if it wasn't Ajayi, but I definitely know it was Ulasesi and Mikey Moore that came on and scored in that game. So you never know. Crazier things have happened. We've got no Dane Scarlett now, so he's not going to come on, is he? So it'll be interesting to see. I think Wilson's a striker, I think. So it'll be interesting to see what that's going to be tomorrow. Byfield's injured. Yeah, and also the other update that I forgot to mention from the press conference is Conor Gallagher has asthma. And apparently when he's got a virus, according to Igor Tudor, that's affecting his asthma. I would say that it's hay fever season. I even said in a video a few days ago, was it a couple of weeks ago, that I had a bit of a cough and a cold, and I realized it was hay fever. And some of you were like, it's not hay fever season. It's tree in the UK. It's tree hay fever season. You get different types of hay fever at different times of the year. This is really random, I know, but tree hay fever is a real thing. And if you have asthma, it can be triggered. So if Conor Gallagher has been playing in Spain and he has had a season out of the UK and he's come back in and his hay fever has been triggered by, or his asthma has been triggered by this, maybe he needs to take some Pirason. That would be my diagnosis. But hopefully, in all seriousness, hopefully it's nothing too serious. And we just hope that he can, he can get back on the grass. Unfortunately, playing on grass is probably not the best thing if you do have any type of hay fever. So, yeah, enter the Gladiators. Oh, was it? Yes, it was Scarlet. It was Ajayi and Scarlet. Thank you very much, CJL, for the correction. Okay, so last year, Elfsborg, it was Ajayi, Scarlet and Moore. So, of course, two of those players will not be available to come onto the pitch. I don't know. Is Ajayi still around? I don't know what his situation is at the moment. I don't know what his situation is. I don't know if he's still. I don't know if Ajayi is still in and around, but anyway, he hasn't come up. I don't know. Anyway, Richie suspended. Is he? Is Richie suspended? I don't think Richie's suspended. Is he? Oh, Ajayi's on loan. Ajayi's on loan. Okay, there you go, guys. Ajayi's on loan. I trust you guys in the chat. Sorry, I don't know everything about every single player. I'm just checking if Richie's suspended. Is he suspended? Yes. Yes, you're right. Richie's suspended. I also didn't realize that. Okay, so then you've got. Right. Well, let's go through a lineup. Let's go through a lineup. Are our players allergic to one another? One comes back after and another leaves. It does feel like that. It does feel like that. Right. I'm gonna have to do my rookie novice thing where I attempt to show you a lineup which is not the most pretty, because I still haven't figured out this whole sharing screen situation. But let me see if I can do it. I know it's not perfect. But at least it's better. There we go. Yeah, I know it's not perfect, but at least it's better than trying to read out loud what we think the lineup's going to be. So I have started off with a 4-4-2. We can perfect this as we go along. So I've put Vicario in goal. I'm actually not sure if he is going to play Kinski in goal or not, if I'm completely honest. But I've put Pedro Porro right back. Look, considering that the 4-4-2 worked last game, maybe he goes 4-4-2 again. He might go back to a back three, but I don't think it really works. The benefit of doing that in this game is that you have Danso back in with Romero and Van der Ven. So then you can afford to put both Porro and Spence a little bit further forward. So I'll show you what that could look like after. We'll start with the 4-4-2 and then let me know what you guys think. I've put Gray on the right-hand side with Gallagher next to him. Of course, we don't know if Gallagher's confirmed yet or not. And also keep in mind, so Paulini is out, as I mentioned, but also Bissouma is not named in the Champions League squad. So it would have to be Gallagher, Sarr, and then Tel. So maybe actually a 3-3-2 would be better. But I've actually put Mawani and Simmons up top, given that Solanke played the full game. And I don't know if he's fully match fit to be playing 2 back-to-back 90 games. And keep in mind, if we perform the miracle that we're all hoping for, and we manage to score 3 goals and it goes to extra time, then you need more legs. So for me personally, if you're going to throw away this game and lose it, do it in 90 minutes, right? Just do it in 90 minutes because I don't want extra time, have to play another half an hour to go to penalties where Vicario is not very good at penalties either, and then us play against Forest. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd much rather us just give it up in the 90 minutes. Okay, no one expected us to win. And then you go into Forest this weekend, but you have fresher legs. You know, do you guys know what I mean? Like, just playing an extra 30 minutes for the sake of it is going to be a really tall order, given the fact that we played on Sunday. So 3 days break. I don't think Solanke's fit enough to start this one, which is why I've put Mawani and Simmons up top. Of course, Simmons is not a striker, so we'll look at another formation in a minute. And I've started Tel again because I think Tel had a decent game. Look, he wasn't perfect, and I think Spence in front of him might actually be stronger. So he might change formation. But he does like his 3-3-2, Tudor. He does like his 3-3-2. Whether he's going to be able to do it in this game or not, I don't know. But this is going to be a game where everyone's looking to whoever the keeper actually is. Because if it's Kinski, everyone's going to be like, can he redeem himself? If it's Vicario, everyone's going to be like, can you keep a clean sheet? So, you know, I think after the Liverpool game, after him conceding the free kick, people were going, oh, that's why he wasn't played in the Champions League. You know what I mean? Because even I was like, you know, Vicario needs a change and we need to try Kinski. And then we tried Kinski and then everyone was like, oh dear. And then we went back to Vicario and then he concedes the goal and everyone's like, oh yes, that's why. That's why we had to swap him. So potentially maybe that's the reason why. I don't know. So that, guys, is what a 4-4. Well, we do need to score 4. We do need to score 4 because it's 5-3. So you need 3 goals to equalize. Away goals don't count for anything more. So then you'd be level. And so if you go into half time, you know, added extra time, should I say, then you need another goal, or if you're going to do it in full time, you need 4 goals. And that's assuming we don't concede a goal. If we concede a goal, then we're going to be looking at 5 goals to win the game. So it is a really tall order. Some of you are saying, come on, Jeff, get behind the team. Delusion is the solution. Stay grounded, but we can dream. Yeah, we probably are conceding a goal. We probably are. But look, stranger things have happened, guys. Stranger things have happened. As you guys were saying earlier in the chat, look at what happened previously with Atleti. Look what happened against in Amsterdam even. Look what, you know, we've had games in the past where players have just come up trumps and just scored hat tricks. Like, we've seen crazier things. Maybe Simmons finds his feet and he just scores 3. Wouldn't that be one for the ages? You know, and then people would be like, oh, Xavi's come of age. So it all depends on their mentality, their mindset, how they click together. So that is what a 4-4-2 could potentially look like. In terms, if it was, let's say, a 3-4-3, just for the sake of it, I would say it's probably going to be more like this. And then done. So I'm not quite sure how that front line would work. Who played right wing? Oh, Sousa played right wing, didn't he? Sousa played right. I'm just trying to think. Sousa played right wing back in front of Pedro Porro for the first part of the Liverpool game. So we know that he can play on the right-hand side, albeit not fantastically. Tell's not really a right forward. So I don't know if this really works. The other option is you put Solanke there, but I think that if you want to have an impact sub, you need to rest Solanke. For me personally, I think you rest Solanke in this game and you keep him for the Forest game. That's way more important at this point. So potentially, just trying to think how else he could do it. Because last game I said, oh, he might do a 4-2-3-1, and then he didn't do a 4-2-3-1. Because you kind of need Simmons in the middle. Maybe they alternate a little bit. But it's not my favorite. But what do we think to this? Do we prefer this to the 4-4-2? Madrid obviously set up 4-4-2. I'm just thinking who else we have on the bench. So in this game, you have Udogie and Bergvall, as I said before, on the bench. So you'd have Udogie, Bergvall, Solanke on the bench, which is a massive boost, by the way, guys. That's a massive boost to have those three on the bench. Trying to think, who else do we even have fit? Oh, and Sarr. I've put in the squad. On the basis that Gallagher doesn't start. I think if Gallagher's fit, you rest Sarr for Forest. I think you rest Sarr for Forest and then you play it like that. Because Sarr as well, he was really good. He was really good against Liverpool, but he's very inconsistent, Sarr. Very inconsistent player. That's a bit weird. Sarr is very inconsistent. So for me, he can't really play 3 games in a week, Sarr. And especially because it's Ramadan. Look, I know you don't fast in the evening and he can have a drink, but I would say you keep him back. So if that's the case, you have, Bergvall, Udogie, Solanke, Sarr, which is, look, it's a stronger bench than we had midweek. Stick Van der Ven on the left, Dragusin centre. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even take that into consideration. You guys are right, because the other option that you could do, let's just switch it back to a 4-4-2, is you put Van der Ven on the left. I don't think it's my favourite, but you could have it a bit like that. So, oh my gosh, can you imagine if you put Van der Ven as left back? That would be crazy. Yeah, Sousa is the correct. Sousa is not registered for Champions League, hence why I haven't put him in my starting lineup. But I might have said he comes on as a sub, but it's a good point. Kinski starting. That's not a funny joke. Look, if you're going to start Kinski again this season, it's going to be in this game, because he's not going to start him in a Premier League game. And also with the turn of events in terms of the fans, in terms of everyone getting back on side, in terms of everyone getting behind the team again, I think also maybe this is a game where you start him to give him a bit of a boost and a bit of confidence. But I don't know. Imagine if we start Kinski. You guys are hilarious. Yeah, I agree. Look, Tudor said it in his press conference. He said it won't be the last time we see Kinski this season. So I would assume that if he is going to play him, it would be in this game, because it's a much less riskier scenario. Is it a good choice? I don't think so. And Vicario is also shot of confidence, I think. So I think you need I think you need to keep Vicario, but I wouldn't blame him if he tried Kinski. And to be fair, if we all got out of there in 90 minutes and the draw ended up 5-4, I think we'd all be like, well, we tried the best that we have with what we have. What are you guys saying? Yep, that's confirmed. There is no Richie. He is suspended for the game tomorrow. Depends what you mean by throwaway from and confidence is too important. Yeah, I mean throwaway in the sense that if you're going to play Kinski and you're going to do it once again this season, you're going to do it in a game where it doesn't really matter so much if we get through to the next round, whereas you cannot lose against Forest. We under no circumstance can you lose against Forest. If we lose against Forest, put it this way, if we lose tomorrow night, Tudor stays. If we lose against Forest but win tomorrow night, Tudor may leave. So because the league is more important. You're wearing the lucky green shirt tomorrow. Yeah, the lucky green shirt. I've got a lucky green shirt as well. Big up to all of you in the chat. Yeah, that was confirmed. I said that at the beginning of the stream, if you're just jumping in. Do we think that Van de Ven was being honest in the press conference? Yeah, I do. I think, look, he hasn't renewed his contract for a reason, but I think that they're all fighting for the shirt and it's just a vicious cycle. The press is just really, the press is just terrible. Some of you are saying you don't think he was being honest. Some of you are like, no, he wasn't being honest. I think he was being honest. Look, it's a tough gig being a player in these ages with so much social media and journalists and leaks. And, I don't know. I watch a little bit of reality TV every now and again. And I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but there was some stuff that I watched, like a documentary on how the press actually operate. It was really interesting how these people basically managed to seed like fake news basically to get it published in the press. And there was a report where they got paid like 50 grand or something ridiculous, or I think it's something ridiculous. It was something outrageous to basically fake a relationship or something like that. And that's what happens. Look, guys, we all know what happened with Colleen Rooney, with the whole scandal with Rebecca Vardy, that was all press instigated. It was all coming from the inside. These players are paid so much money, their partners, it might not come from the dressing room, but they might go home and tell their partners and they leak it to the press. So the complex web of the PR machine is so much more complicated than what we think. And for anyone curious about it, I highly recommend the Agatha Christie documentary, which was about Colleen Rooney and that whole case and how she won it, because ultimately they took the press to the cleaners. Anyway, sidetracked. Right. Got some predictions of lineups here. So, I've disappeared. I hate this. There's just too much going on the screen. Too much going on. Don't like it. Okay, Romero and Van de Ven will come back in, and Richie suspended. It will likely be Vicario, Romero, Danso, Dragusin, Van de Ven, Porro, Spence. So Salzer's not listed in the squad, so it would have to be Spence. Gray, Sartel, Solanke, Mawani or Xavi, same formation. So same formation. I think that's pretty much on par with what I've done. The only change there, I don't know why that's I meant to do it more like that. I don't really like it. I don't think Tell really plays there. Who have I taken out from that? Gallagher. So Tell would be in for Gallagher if Gallagher's fit. I don't know if he's going to be available, guys. From the sounds of it, I think Connor's really suffering. I don't know if he comes in. But yeah, that's pretty much... I mean, I don't know how else you could do it. Unless you just rest Spence altogether. Maybe you rest Spence and put Tell there. I don't know. I don't think he does that, by the way. I don't think he actually does that. I think it's probably more like that. I think it's probably more like this. That's probably more realistic. But I would love to see Van der Ven left back, to be honest. I would love to see it. Yes, please do smash the like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. Same formation as Liverpool. Some talk about the contracts. I'll go back to the Mickey Van der Ven stuff after. Nothing is impossible. Remember Ajax in 2019. Exactly. Do you think we can bring Dele Alli on? Do you think Dele Alli can play for us tomorrow night? He's training. Do you think if we get battered tomorrow night, that would affect the players' confidence? I don't think it will affect the players' confidence. I think what matters most is that they show fight and that they show up and that they play 90 minutes. I think for all of us, well, I can't speak for the Spurs faithful, as someone told me the other day. They were like, Sarah, you don't speak for the Spurs faithful. So apologies, I don't speak for the Spurs faithful. I speak for myself. So for me personally, I think that as long as you show a fight, as long as you show up in the game and you give a performance and you play a full 90 minutes, that's all we can ask for. And that was the difference against Liverpool. We didn't win it, but we showed fight. And we've been missing that so much this year. The players just completely down tools, and they were playing such a defensive style under Frank. They became lazy. Right? It was literally a case of like, sit back behind the ball and wait for a set piece. That's what we were doing under Frank. So if we can turn it around and, look, apparently, so I listened to the View from the Lane podcast. For anyone that wants to know where I listen to my stuff, I don't know. But I listened to the View from the Lane with Danny Kelly, Jack Pitbrook. Depends who's on it on the day. Can't remember off the top of my head, but that is only on Spotify. And what they were saying is that the players actually ran combined, was it 10 kilometers more? The players ran 10 kilometers more than Liverpool on Sunday collectively. 10 kilometers more. So it just shows you that sometimes when they basically exhausted Liverpool is what they were trying to say. They exhausted Liverpool and they put their, foot on the gas and they just went the whole entire game. And I think that that's a really valid point, because what we've seen previously this season is the players just look sluggish and they haven't been looking for the ball. They haven't been fighting for it. So one of the things that Igor Tudor said was it was about physicality and the players needed to improve their fitness. And I think part of the drop-off was because they just got not lazy, but just I think the intensity under Frank wasn't the same. Even though we saw all those injuries, I just think the intensity wasn't the same. And I think Igor Tudor is a bit more of that intensity type of coach. And that's why he was getting them to do running drills. And look, it worked. It worked, guys. They ran their socks off. So I don't know if it will affect their confidence, but I definitely think that it's important to keep up the momentum in the game itself. So that's my 2 cents. Get knocked down and you get back up again. Exactly. I don't know if you're watching on replay, but yes. Yeah, losing goals, late goals is always a sign of poor fit. And you could say that about Liverpool. Look, they're playing Galatasaray tonight, and they got tomorrow night, I think it is. They play Galatasaray tomorrow night. I think tonight is the Arsenal tie and the Chelsea tie tonight, isn't it? Yeah, Chelsea, PSG, and Arsenal, Leverkusen. And I don't know about anyone else, but I'm rooting for Bodo Glimt, so I might just scrap the Chelsea and Arsenal fixtures, and I might just watch Bodo tonight because, if Bodo get through, I want them to beat Arsenal. I would just love for Bodo to beat Arsenal. Like, please. Anyway, Wagatha Christie. But it's true. We laugh about it, but it's true. It's very complex. The media, the press, it's like its own. It's got a life of its own, and we don't even know half of the stuff that goes on. Like, it's actually scary, the stuff that goes on. And it's not just in football, it happens across the board, it happens in Hollywood, it happens in music, in the music industry as well. Like, it's a very real thing, because a lot of journalists just feel that because players are paid X amount of money that they can just write or say whatever they want, and it can be really damaging. Anyway, guys, has anyone else put any squad predictions? No one's put any squad predictions because I don't think anyone wants to call it. Is Kinski better on penalties? Yeah, can you imagine subbing Vicario off and then putting Kinski back on for the penalties? That would be crazy. So some of you are saying no Kinski, we need our best available team out. I don't know. I think that it's a tricky one with Kinski. It is a tricky one with Kinski because look, it is almost a throwaway game. It is, you know. So look, I'm gonna just say this 4-4-2. He will play 3 at the back. We cannot start Mawani. Well, we will start Mawani. Sorry, Jeff. We will start Mawani. That is, if there was one player on this, actually, there's probably about 4 players in this starting lineup, 5 players in this starting lineup that are guaranteed. 6 players that are guaranteed in my eyes. Pedro Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Gray, Mawani, and Simmons. Those 6 are without a doubt for me. I think half the team will definitely stay in the squad. In terms of the other 6, so Spence, the change there could be Van der Ven on the left with centre back, either Dragusin or Danso. The other ones, in terms of our midfield, there isn't really too much that we can do because the depth of squad that we have. So realistically, Tell probably has to play given that Richie is out. If Gallagher is unwell, then you might have to change formation because you have no Paulinia, no Bentancur, no Bissouma. So our midfield is the area of biggest concern. I actually don't think Mawani is the biggest concern. I think Mawani got an assist last game. And I think if he can get some momentum off the back of getting that assist, and we need an early goal. So if he can get us an early goal, that could be a season game changer for Mawani. That could just let him pick up the confidence that he needs to go on and perform a bit better for the rest of the season. So I think for us, the biggest concern is the 2 behind the strikers, where those Sarr and Gallagher, those 2 that I've put in there. And also Gray is obviously not a natural right winger. So I think 3 at the back actually does suit the players better, given what we have available. For me personally, I actually think 3 does fit us better. But is it stronger? I'm not necessarily sure. So, yeah. Yeah, I think they are to a degree. I believe we played with fight against Liverpool because let me just get off the screen. Because Van der Ven and Christian Romero was not playing. Team wasn't relying on them. I don't know, Neil. I don't know. I think it was just a combination of things. It's very rare for a team, as my friend was saying, to go on like a 7-game losing bounce. And guys, as I said in my video yesterday, for anyone that didn't watch it, we've lifted the curse of conceding 2 or more goals per game in that Liverpool game. We halved our number of goals that we conceded, because excluding our Champions League games, we hadn't gone a game without conceding 2 goals or more in 10 games. 10 games in a row we conceded 2 or more goals. That is tragic. It is tragic. Absolutely tragic. 10 games in a row conceding 2 goals or more. Seriously, that's just so devastating. So the fact that we've got that monkey off our back, now we need to win a game. Now we need to get that monkey off our back and just win a game. And I don't think it's this one, but it would be magnificent. It would be magnificent if it was this game. But can we? Can we? Yes, we can. We could. We could. We could. Not impossible. Not impossible. Could not care less about Champions League. Is anyone going to the game? A lot of you were writing in the comments on my video yesterday that you've now bought tickets for the Forest game. I know a lot of people in the chat aren't necessarily in the UK, but I think that a lot more people are going to the Forest game now. And tomorrow night, I think it was a 50 quid game. I think it's a Category C game. They priced it at tomorrow night. So I think they'll probably get about 40. I reckon they'll get about 40,000 tomorrow night. I think the lowest in Champions League turnout we've had is 42,000. So I think we'll probably get about 40,000 tomorrow night. And don't forget, on a Champions League night, they get more away tickets. So I'll do my match day vlog. I'll do my match day vlog tomorrow night. And the section next to us tomorrow night is going to be the away fans. So that's going to be interesting to see. The away fans next to us, because last time we get a bit of stick of them being next to us. So yeah. Dom and Mawani up front and Xavi on the bench. I think that Dom played the full 90, and I don't think he's fit enough to play twice back to back or 3 times in a week. I would rather, because Solanke is look, Solanke, for me, people were slating him against Liverpool because he didn't score, but he's a workhorse. He does so much defensively for us. He carries us at times, and I think he's as good as Richarlison on his day. Honestly, I think Solanke is as good as Richarlison. So for me personally, I think that you bench Solanke. If the game goes to added extra time, you bring him on. However, you keep him on the bench unless you need a game changer at the end, and then you play him against Forest, and then he's fresh legs for Forest, because you can't play everyone. You can't play everyone, and he's rested both Xavi and Mawani. So, yeah. Truth to what? What was their truth in? Truth about Van der Ven and Romero not playing. I don't know. I think Van der Ven and Romero. Okay, I'm going to give you a different perspective. Right? Because life is all about perspectives at the end of the day, and we're all just watching the game and making assumptions. So here's a different take. When Mickey Van der Ven and Romero have higher expectations of themselves than probably, I would assume, a Danso or a Dragusin, because Mickey Van der Ven and Romero hold themselves to that higher standard of like, we are world beaters, right? And the thing is, when you hold yourself to a higher standard and you get knocked down, the disappointment is so much more. So for me, I think because they put so much pressure on themselves, when you go into a losing position, that's when they become desperate. And that is why we saw, like, for example, against Burnley, Romero going crazy and doing bicycle kicks and scoring headers from corners because he was like desperate to make up for it. That's a take. That's one take. And equally with Van der Ven, when he gets those moments where he's just had enough and he just like runs the length of the pitch and just like has a shot, he's just had enough, and he just like that for me is passion, right? That for me is like the spark of passion, where they want to fight for the team and they want to fight for the badge. It's just that maybe they're on a different wavelength to the players around them. And I think Xavi kind of falls into that category as well. I think Xavi's learnt that the team is not ability-wise where he was at when he came into the squad, because he was doing all these flicks and passes and no one was catching the ball from him. He was literally out there on his own playing for primetime Barcelona, and he's like on a different game to everyone else. No one else is keeping up pace with him. So I think there's a little bit of that going on as well, where like when you hold yourself to that higher standard and then you drop off, you put more pressure on yourself and you become more inward facing, you become more introspective, and you don't show as more of yourself because you're disappointed. So I would say drop all expectations. If that's the case, I'm speculating, but just drop all expectations. And when you drop all expectations, that's when again you have the ability to show up. And this tomorrow night is one of those games. You're going in 3-0, there's no pressure. You just half-time 3-0 down. Second half, you've got to come out, score 3 goals at least, and just show yourself. And sometimes in those moments where you have no pressure, that's actually when you perform better. We can only hope. Is our unavailable 11 better than our starting 11? Yes, probably. Yes, probably, most likely. Although Bentancur has been taken out of the Champions League squad. That's right, isn't it? Bentancur and... is Davis still in it? I'm not sure, but it's going to be irrelevant anyway, because come next week we might not even be in the Champions League draw. So yeah, I would say our unavailable 11 probably is better than our starting 11. Centre back wise, Romero and Van der Ven are obviously your best centre backs, but they're both fit and available. So I think it depends on the position of the pitch as well, Midfielders, the unavailable midfielders, hands down, hands down, the ones that are out are better than what we have right now. But as for the rest of the squad, I'm not too sure. And if Udogie comes back in, I think Udogie is our best left back by miles. Miles. I like Spence, and I think he's a good player, but he might be better as a wing back, or he played well last game. But I think Udogie just offers us so much more in that left back. Conor Gallagher has the Chelsea Blues. I don't know. Can't make the game. Is your dad going to watch the game? Yes, I think my dad is going to watch the game. Although none of them are going on Sunday against Forest, isn't it? Yeah, Sunday against Forest. They're not going Sunday. They're not because they don't want to, but they've all got a wedding on Sunday. So out of the 11 of us going on Sunday, I think there's 3 of us. There's 3 of us out of 11 going on Sunday. But the tickets have sold. So there are people going. Tomorrow night, we're all going tomorrow night from our clan. So pretty good turnout considering it's 3-0 down, but everyone's going. Sarah, you were the watch-along lucky charm. I was the watch-along lucky charm. I'm definitely the lucky charm. I should do some more watch-alongs. If you want some encouragement for Sunday, Forest have only scored 28 league goals this season. Thank you, EDM. But the other thing about that as well is Forest play on Thursday night. Forest play away in Denmark on Thursday night. So that could work in our favor as well, because they will fly back late, either Thursday night or Friday morning, which means they might not train Friday, and then they might train Saturday and have to play on Sunday, whereas we play tomorrow. So that could work in our advantage. I'm not sure the Forest game on Thursday, they are going into that game as well 1-0 down. So they've also got a win on Thursday night. So they're in the relegation fight and they're in a Conference League battle to go through to the next round as well. And they're playing, I can't even pronounce this, FC Midtjylland. My pronunciation is terrible, but yeah, they play FC Midtjylland in Denmark. So look, that's the upside for us as well, I think, going into Sunday, because they're going to have one less day to be training. Richie only needs 4 clear-cut chances. Richie's not playing, guys. Richie's suspended. For those just joining, welcome in. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Solanke is playing through injury. Maybe Solanke has 2 Richarlisons. No, I don't know. I think they're both coming into their own now. I think, look, we just need to finish our season strong. A hammer. Oh, you irons are in the chat, are you? You're in the chat. I have it here. Do you guys think that if you did win tonight, would put more pressure and maybe injuries? No, I don't. I think because we've got players coming back, we're in a better position now. We have 13 players out injured. 13 players. That's like a whole squad. That's literally a whole squad. Not even just a team. It's like 2 over than a team. I don't think it puts more pressure on us because the Champions League is still a bit of a throwaway for us. Like, our focus is definitely on the Premier League, but he probably won't play full strength. And as long as no one gets injured, we'll be okay. But how are you guys feeling? The Hammers, how are you guys feeling? If there's any more of you in the chat, how are you feeling about the relegation fight? Because I have some friends that are Hammers. And a couple of games ago when we lost, you guys were like, yeah, we won. You guys have lost. We've got momentum. And now, obviously, this weekend, everyone's got the draw. So it's very, very tight. So I don't know. I think that Forest go down. If I was going to call it, I think West Ham stay up and I think Forest stay down. Honestly, that's my opinion. Not necessarily that I want that. Obviously, I don't want Spurs to get relegated. But I think that West Ham have more. I think you have more about you. And I think that you're in better form than Forest. Forest have actually not got that good a form. I think you guys have got a bit more momentum. So that's my 2 cents. I don't know. Wolves, Burnley and Forest to go down. I'd take that if Spurs stay up. I don't really care about West Ham, but I'd take that. But let me know what you think, Johnny Mac. Will Bergvall start Wednesday? No, Bergvall is not starting. He will be on the bench. He is most definitely not match fit. I think it will depend at the end of the game what the scoreline is and whether he comes on. And it also depends whether there's added extra time as well added onto that. Davis is out for the season. I had a rumor that he was back after international break. I don't know. That's what it said on the transfer update latest, but that could be inaccurate. Kuda's coming back after international break. Yes, it will. Oh, we need a right winger. I just broke my fast and only have 14 minutes on the live. Yeah, so breaking the fast about now. So yeah, the players playing tomorrow, they'll be breaking their fast as well. They'll be able to eat before the game tomorrow. So I think that's also in terms of energy levels a good thing. What are you guys saying? What are you guys saying in the chat? Brought positivity to that watch along. I tried. It was the first time I met Brains as well. So first time meeting Brains and then sitting 5 hours on a live with him drinking 4 beers on the post-fan match show. That was funny. We were taking it in turns to have toilet breaks because I was drinking my tea and he was drinking his beers. And when we scored, I was like static. And then we were like both turned to each other and like high fived. Maybe if we'd met before, we would have given hugs. But it's like the first time meeting, we're like, hey, Richarlison. Funny stuff. But yeah, I think I turned a bit negative. I didn't hold my ground as much as I probably should have at the end. Probably when a couple of phone-ins happened, I probably could have been a bit more optimistic because I also saw the match ratings as well. And like the match ratings, look, Vicario wasn't a 4 last game. Vicario was better than a 4. I would have given Vicario like a 6 against Liverpool. I think 4 was very harsh. But anyway, again, this is all speculation. Nothing was confirmed. I think we bought Gallagher for what, like 35 million, was it? I can't remember. But look, the whole thing about him being on 200 grand, I don't know how accurate that is. And we will never know how accurate that is. But I don't think that was accurate, if I'm completely honest. Yeah, we bought him for 33 million, Gallagher. 33 million. So I can't see how he's on 200 grand a week. I think that was a PR plug from the club. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. As we just said, the media have a mind of their own. But I think that was a PR plug from the club to try and tell people, oh, we've changed our transfer wage structure. But really, 33 million, I guess you're not talking about a 100 million player there. You're talking about, a third of that. So I can't see how that would be unless he's on like a really, really short contract. I mean, what would he have to be on? What would he have to be on? 65. No, it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out. He would have to be on like, how long is his contract? Is it 3 years or less? Maybe if he's on, I don't know. I just can't see the numbers adding up. Doesn't make sense to me. Necessity to play against Nottingham. Yeah. I think Richie and Solanke again. I like that combo. I think Xavi starts tomorrow. Oh, I'd love this. Oh, Kenny Mawani scoring a hat trick. I think we're a bit delusional here. Big dreamers. Can we? Ken Mawani? I wonder what the betting odds are on Mawani scoring a hat trick. The betting odds. Oh my goodness. No, I don't even think I've seen Mawani score a goal at the Spurs Stadium, to be honest. Has he scored a goal at the Spurs Stadium? Can't remember. Well, he's got assists now. Oh no, he did score. He scored in the Champions League, didn't he? Oh, Hammers, you think you're gone? Villa, Newcastle, Arsenal away. We've got some tough games as well, though. We've still got to play Villa, and we've got to play Chelsea. So I think all of those. So Leeds, for me, it's Leeds, West Ham, Forest, and Spurs. We are all going to drop points. So if you're a hammer and you're saying that Villa, Newcastle, and Arsenal away, I think that Forest have a harder run than you guys, if I'm honest, because they've got to play. Oh, interesting. So there you go. Forest have to play Villa, Newcastle, United, and Chelsea. So we all have to play Villa. All three teams in the relegation fight have to play Villa. And Villa obviously want to get their Champions League spot. So everyone is fighting for something this season. This is the whole thing about this season. It's a really tight league and everyone is playing for something. So look, I don't think West Ham, I don't think you guys are down and out. But look, we'll have to see how the rest of the season goes. The benefit that you guys have, also just on this, Johnny, the benefit that you guys have is that you don't play midweek. You're not playing midweek because this weekend will tell a lot. I think after this weekend, we'll know a lot more about the state of the clubs. And you have had a full rest this week, whereas both Spurs and Forest are playing midweek and then we play each other. So that's going to be very revealing. And I think it will tell us a lot about, whether you guys can stay up, for me personally, because I don't think Forest get through to the next round. And who knows, there's a meme going around. Have you guys seen the meme going around about Ange Postecoglou doing us a favor, throwing away the Forest game so that they go down and we don't? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, look, fan rivalry is fan rivalry, but I got to take off my sort of rival hat sometimes because you've got to be objective about the game. You can't just make speculations just because I want you to go down. By the way, interesting, Johnny, since we've got you in the chat, Johnny, interesting to hear from a West Ham fan. Do you guys, because I've heard a lot about the protests at West Ham, and we've had a protest that's been cancelled this weekend. What are your views on the protests at West Ham? Are you for or against them? Do you think they work? Just curious from a West Ham point of view, because it's not working at Spurs. And I don't know, whoever's in charge of trying to organize like these collective, protests or whatever, they're trying a different angle now. And I'm curious about West Ham. Maybe I'll look into it a bit more about the protests at West Ham and like what's worked for you guys and what hasn't, because you guys have been protesting for years to get your ownership out. I mean, it's the same as United. I don't know if Man United protest as much, but they hate the Glazers as much as we hate Enoch. So football is a funny game. Football is such a funny game, such a funny game. Sarah, what do you think of the theory that the amount of injuries we have is connected to the retractable pitch underneath our surface? NFL players have remarked how hard their surface is. It's possible. It is possible. And I did see some kind of analysis looking into the pitch, and they were breaking down like it's to do with the depth of the soil underneath. Like there isn't such a big layer of soil. However, for me, I'm not a sports scientist, so I can't comment on the soil makeup underneath the pitch. How I look at it is from a systemic point of view, through a mindset point of view, and therefore it's a nervous system point of view. In other words, when you have a mentality collapse, a structural collapse, a physical collapse, it becomes mental, and then that energy gets stored in the body and it becomes systemic because it's a knock-on effect. Like imagine, is this a Pochettino analogy? I don't know, but if you imagine you have I'm going to say a bowl of lemons, but I was thinking oranges, but let's say it's lemons in honor of Poch, and you have one lemon in the bowl that's moldy, all the lemons next to that lemon are going to get moldy first, and then eventually the whole bowl goes moldy much quicker than it would have. It's kind of like that with players. If you have 3 players in one position, one gets injured, you put more pressure on the next guy, he gets injured, the next guy gets more pressure. And so that's kind of what it is. You're just moving the pressure down and down because you haven't got rotation. And it would be okay, it would be manageable if we were playing once a week. But because we're playing twice a week, And in January, we had 9 games in January, 9 games in 30 days, people. That's 1 game every 3 days. When you put that pressure on, forget the pitch and what the pitch is like. I just think that when you don't have rotation, you put more and more pressure on the players. And we know that's fact because we have more injuries in January than any other month. We have more injuries happening in January than any other month. And that was a result of not strengthening the squad, not getting the long-term injuries back, which caused more pressure on the other players. And it's also a nervous system thing, because then you go on the bounce and you can see 2 goals or more for 10 games in a row. More pressure on the players, more pressure on the body. You start to think in a different way. You hold that energy differently, and you go in for stupid challenges and tackles, and then you get injuries. So that's my 2 cents. But there might be some truth to the pitch, to the field, to the surface. Maybe they probably have to do more studies on it. And don't forget, we also had more injuries. Was it under Mourinho? Under Mourinho, we had a lot of injuries, I think. I think it was Mourinho. I'm pretty sure we had a lot of injuries under Mourinho. And even he was saying, I think, was it Mourinho or Conte? I'm trying to remember. You guys will tell me in the chat. But I think we had a lot of injuries under Mourinho. And he was even saying, and I think that was even before we moved state. Was it? No, it would have been after. So maybe you're right. But look, we've never been in a position in the new stadium where we've had every player fit and we've had full squad rotation. We just haven't had a season of it. And then on top of that, we had the Asia Cup. So when Sonny was in the Asia Cup, he would go to the Asia Cup. You have the African nations. So you've got about 3 of our players that go to the African nations. You've got the Euros. You've got the World Cup. We've got a squad filled with international players who no summer have a summer off. Oh, you have the South American Cup as well. You know, Argentina won that. You know, Richie was off on that. Bentancur was off on that. So you have a lot of competitions. So it's not just about how many games you play at Spurs. And look, we've seen it before. We went on a bounce of losing every game before international break. There's a reason for that, you know? So anyway. Yeah, I've seen the speculation about Real Madrid as well. I've seen the speculation about Real Madrid. Maybe there is some truth to it. But they need to do more research into it. They need to do more testing. I don't know what happened to our sports science department at Spurs, because I think they had a lot of change in the sports science department when they tried to rectify the injury crisis, but it didn't quite work. Sarah, why did you not accept a positive remark by Stell? Jordan, I'm not sure. What was the positive remark? He did say he agreed with me. But I don't know if it was positive. The Boda game is starting soon. What time does the Boda game start? Luke is an Arsenal fan who is here to pour salt in your wounds. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We have. It's really cool. I love the fact that we have fans from all over, because it gives us perspective. It gives us perspective on the game. Oh, it started. The Boda game started. I would put it on in the background, but I need to get up to make that happen. I could put it up on the TV in the background. Predicted lineup for tomorrow. That was my predicted lineup, but there was a 3 formation at the back as well. There was a 3 at the back. Is that a gin and tonic in your mug? No, it's just tea. It's just tea in my mug. Thanks. I was on We Are Tottenham TV before, but it wasn't for a match watch along. That was the first watch along I've ever done. So, interesting. So, Johnny here, West Ham fan, said about the protests. They work, but they are long-winded. Brady almost resigned last week. If you don't protest, it never gets brought to market. Interesting. Thanks for your views, Johnny. Thanks for your Drews, your views. Because I think with Spurs, we get silenced a lot. The fans get silenced a lot, to the point where in games last year, where we had balloons which were leaving out, the staff were instructed to pop the balloons. So in the stadium, there was a lot of balloons, and at one point you could just hear popping all over the place because the balloons were being popped. Speculatively, when there are boos on the streams, on the video, on the broadcasts, speculatively, they can turn the sound down on when they've been chants, and they fill the stadium with cheers. So there's a lot of speculation around whether the protests work or not. But it is interesting to hear from a West Ham fan, and I didn't know that Brady almost resigned last week, but you guys have been protesting for years. You guys have been protesting for years. I think that just maybe the change for Tottenham, because the thing is, we've had change. The change for Tottenham message is non-applicable because we've had change. So change for Spurs, change for Tottenham, I get it, but we've had change. So what do you need now? And the only message is Enoch out for me. I think it's just the message is just Enoch out. But yeah, they pop balloons. They confiscated flags at Spurs as well last year. I don't know if they do that at West Ham in your ground. I don't know. I don't really follow you guys too much, but it's certainly interesting because it's so interesting to learn from other fan clubs and fan groups. I think we even had some fans from Italy in the chat once who said that they were protesting as well. So, we've had the retractable pitch for longer than these last 2 seasons of bad injuries. Last season, we had more defenders out with muscle injuries, partly due to high line and intense sprinting. Maybe. I think we had it in a lot of games before that as well. Wise words. I can't remember. I disagree. Someone's like, wise words. Someone else like, I disagree. See, we're divided by opinion, but we are united by Spurs. Spurs have no depth and no other club gets the injuries Spurs have. Other clubs do get the injuries. They do get the injuries, but they also, when they are long-term injuries, that's the difference here. Long-term injuries, when you have long-term injuries, you need to replace and strengthen the squad. And that is not what we've done. We knew Kulusevski and we knew Maddison were long-term injuries at the start of this season. At the start of the season, those 2 players we knew. We bought Kudus and we bought Xavi, but those 2 alone weren't enough. And then we sold Johnson. So, and then Odegaard got injured. So it wasn't enough. We were playing twice a week. We needed to buy 2 players for both of those positions. We needed to buy another midfielder. And we bought Mawani on loan as a last-minute stopgap. We loaned him last minute as a stopgap because we realized that we needed another forward because we also got rid of Sonny. But Mawani's not strong enough. Mawani is not, he cannot play. He's not strong enough. He's not pacey enough. He's not technical enough. He hasn't gelled. First year in the Premier League, too much pressure. Unfortunately for Mawani, I don't think we buy him off the back of this season. I mean, let's be realistic. Would anyone buy him off the back of this season? I doubt it. Guys, I'm going to switch the light on, and 1 second, I'm just going to also switch the TV on as well because I'll put the Bodo game on mute. But I'll be back in 1 minute. Let me know in the chat what we think to this while I come back in a second. Bear with me. Right. What we saying? Sorry about that. I think I'm unmuted. What did we think of that lineup? Yeah, I mean, look, I think Frank would have gone regardless. That's probably why they weren't too bothered about buying players, because they were like, oh, we're just going to buy players for the sake of buying players, which is definitely the wrong attitude to have, because they told us that they were going to buy more players. And so it's just like this like stupid catch-22 situation that we're in, because we just keep making club signings which aren't fit for purpose. So not fit for purpose. I mean, like, they don't fit the system that we're trying to play. That's the problem. It's just like a repeating cycle. Like every single season, we have the same conversation about our injuries, you know? Oh, are we going to buy any players for the system? What is the system? So that's why you need a manager, I think, like Pochettino, who comes in, where you actually have a system that you can stick to and you can buy for that system, rather than just like randomly buying players which just have no place in the squad, you know? Like this bloated situation that we're in now in the midfield. And having said that, half of them are out injured. So, goodness, we're such a shambles. We are such a shambles. What is wrong with this club? Oh my gosh. So stressful. So stressful being a Spurs fan. Yeah, okay, the goal gaffer agrees. You think Forest are going to go down? Look, we're all just hedging our bets. I think it was when you said I don't need backing still. These guys are so funny. Queen Ellie, I don't think Queen Ellie's in the chat anymore, but she's like, we can handle it. We can handle it, us women. It's funny. Look, Abby's on Talk Sport, you know, we all talk about it. You've got to be able to take it if you give it, you know. You're here for the Spurs tears. Please save Danso for Sunday. Well, is Romero still one more? No. Oh no, Romero and Mickey will be back for Sunday, won't they? They will both be back for Sunday, because Mickey was only suspended for one game. And as long as Romero's concussion wasn't bad and he starts tomorrow, maybe, I don't know, maybe he does play a back three. It's possible. Gallagher and Basuma faked injuries. Don't fall for the lies. Nah. I don't buy that. You've got a proper medical team. They've got doctors. They've got professional doctors. They've got private healthcare. You know, it's not like I don't know, me rocking down to the NHS doctors and being like, I've got a chesty cough, and they're like, go home. They've got people who like literally look out for them, who's like, you know, giving them extra special attention. And Basuma had a problem earlier this year, don't forget. So we don't know if that's a recurring injury or not. He had an ankle injury earlier this year, and that's why Frank wasn't playing him. He had a bit of a disciplinary thing, but he wasn't played, not because he was injured, not because of disciplinary, but because he was injured. So 3 at the back formation. A lot of you are saying 3 at the back. So let's just assume he's going to go 3 at the back. Let's just say he's going to go 3 at the back. So if he's 3 at the back, I think it's going to look like this. I think if it's 3 at the back, I think it's going to look something like this. And I can't really see any other options in midfield. If Gallagher's not fit, I don't know what he does. Honestly, if Gallagher's not fit, I don't know what he does. Maybe he has to play Gallagher for 45 minutes and then he has to play Bergvall for 45 minutes. I don't know. Forest game is more important. I think we're all in agreement that the Forest game is more important. Yeah. Big up to you as well, Daniel. Big up to you. We have had supporters kicked out and their season tickets taken away and the live streams outside the ground moved on. Really? Interesting, Johnny. Interesting. So for those just joining or jumping in, Johnny's a West Ham fan. But we were having a digital conversation about the protests at West Ham, and I didn't realise that Brady almost resigned last week. So I was asking, from a West Ham perspective, does the protests make a difference? And I was saying how last year that the ENIC out balloons all got popped, or the Levy out balloons all got popped. So and the flags were taken away; they were confiscated last year at some of those protests at the Spurs ground. So apparently, that's a thing that's universal across sport. See, that's the thing. You get so used to we all do it, right? We all do it, including Anne, who's a United fan, including Luke in the chat, who's an Arsenal fan. Everyone, we all get jaded. We all have blinkers on when we look at our club and we're like, oh, ENIC is so bad or whoever is so bad. But actually, it's a universal thing. It happens across all clubs. They're just trying to protect their reputation. So I don't know collectively how fans, not just Spurs fans, but how football fans can get their voice back. And I think that this change has happened because the game has become so much more commercialized. I mean, I haven't told you guys this, but I used to work for TalkSport. I used to work for TalkSport back in 2011. So I actually used to work in their the data analyst team. And, you know, when we used to do our presentations and stuff, the sort of people who watch the game are sort of working class people, you know, like blue collar workers. And so I think the expense of the game now has just become so expensive that blue collar workers have been outpriced from the game. It's just become so much more commercialized that people are resenting it. You're not getting fans going as much or paying, especially at Spurs now when it's like £100 a ticket, because people have been priced out. And when that happens, people turn against the club naturally. So I think it's an evolution that's happened in sport across the board over the last decade. So I don't know if that's anything to go by, but I think back to those days and I'm like, oh, wow, stuff's changed so much since then. It's changed so much. Brady learnt all she knows from Sugar. Couldn't get it right at Birmingham. Even worse at West Ham. ENIC are Brady squared. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know too much about the ownership at West Ham, other than the fact that you guys seem to be in a constant cycle as well, you know. But even, I guess it's a selling club as well. There is no indication that the protest work and the Change for Tottenham initiative is weak in organisation and impact. Yeah, I think protests work, but I agree that there is lack of organisation and a lack of impact as well. There's a lack of organisation for sure. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because I think if it was, I think they just need a rebrand. If they did a rebrand, I think, you know, that could potentially work. They can use my Save Our Spurs if they want, but yeah, I think the branding should just be ENIC out. That's it, just ENIC out. Because I think most people by now, I can't speak for everyone, but I think most people are ENIC out. I don't know how I do a poll on here, but I would imagine most people are ENIC out by now. Spurs are too emotional in big games. Won't be surprised if there's a red card against Forest. No, I don't think so. I think we're going to go on a bit of a bounce now. I think we finished the season strong. They've been sleeping for half the season. Our players have been asleep. Does anyone watch Friends? Anyone used to watch Friends? You were asleep? Seriously, our players have just been asleep. So now they're awake. Now they're training. We can finish the season strong. You've got 8 games left to play, and I think that we finish strong. I think we can do that. To imagine Spurs has workable sports department genuinely makes me chuckle. Yeah. Some conflicting views here. Does anyone want to give a prediction for the game tomorrow? Appalling lineup. Anne, that is our lineup. That's our squad. Welcome to Spurs. That is our squad. We don't really have much choice. We have no midfield that's fit. It is what it is. You've got to play with what you've got. And this is why the whole manager conversation is completely irrelevant, because it doesn't matter who the manager is. You still have just 13 players who are fit, you know? So it's just a bit of a pathetic situation all round, really. But yeah, I mean, you've got to play with what you've got. And if that's what you've got, that's what you've got, you know? Anyone want to give a score prediction? So apparently, apparently, in the press conference, Tudor said that he's going to be playing tomorrow. He's going to be in the starting lineup, is what confirmation we had earlier today. So I would imagine that they assessed him for concussion, and I would imagine that he has been cleared and it's not concussion. I would imagine, because they wouldn't let him play if it was concussion. I'm so glad to see everyone on the Richie train. Yeah, I mean, I was never anti-Richie. I think Richie just needed to come back fit. So, okay, so some of you are saying don't start Romero. Interesting. I think if he's fit, you have to start him, but he might not be match fit to start. Maybe. Dragusin is not good. Kinski is not good. We have to play Spencer's left back because Sousa can't play, people. Sousa is not listed in the squad, in Champions League squad. Sousa is not listed. He cannot play. We have no left back. The left back that we have is Udogie, who is not fit enough to start. He will be on the bench. And Udogie will probably get 10 minutes towards the end. That's the reality. But no, Sousa cannot start. So it will be Spence. Or you go with the three at the back and you play Mickey van der Ven. Okay. So the people are still saying Sousa in the chat. So I'm not going to show those ones because Sousa cannot start. Yes, thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richard. Right. If you used to work for Talk Sport, how do you explain Jason Cundy? I didn't used to work in the broadcasting department. I used to work in the analytics, the sales team, the sales, like I can't remember what they called it. I was an insight analyst, so I didn't work in that department. And they've changed a lot because they've got now their whole new studio. They've moved offices. They have the new deck behind them and everything. So a lot's changed. But yeah, I used to put like, Cundy's face on the presentations, basically. Right. Everyone is Enoch out, all except Enoch. Yeah. Okay, we've got some match predictions. Right. 2-1. Well, if it's 2-1, we might as well go home at half time. Is that 2-1 to us? If that's 2-1 to us, then we finish the game 4-6 on aggregate. 4-6 on aggregate, you're saying? I don't know, maybe. Sarah, did they buckle under pressure, do you think? Change for Tottenham? I don't know. Maybe they saw the campaign that we did here that's still going, which the QR code is there, by the way. I don't know where to point, but the QR code's up there for the SOS campaign, Save Our Spurs, which is sending emails into the board. So all you need to do is click the link, put your name at the bottom, press send, and share the link with someone you love who loves Spurs. But I don't know. I'm not involved with Change for Tottenham. I actually have no idea who is involved with Change for Tottenham at all, other than the guy that I called out in my last live, who for tweeting me, telling me that I was being really inconsiderate and rude. So I don't really have too much to deal with them, to be honest. When I say too much, nothing at all. I don't go to the protests. It is interesting why our lot doesn't go to the protests, but I don't know why. Maybe they just felt that maybe after the Liverpool result, they just felt like we do need to get behind the team. Look, Everton fans are laughing at us. Villa fans are laughing at us. West Ham fans are laughing at us because they're like, you've got the worst fans. That's what they're all saying. So maybe it came externally. Maybe it wasn't from internal. Maybe it was just internal. I don't know. But I'm sure they had disagreements amongst them. I actually don't know how many people are involved in Change for Tottenham. So 2-1. 2-1 for Atletico. I don't know. I don't think Atletico win. I don't think Atletico win. They don't need to come to Spurs and score. They don't need to come and score. They can literally just sit back behind the ball for the entire 90 minutes. So I don't think they can't. Maybe they come and try and get one goal, but I don't think, God, Sporting is so bad. So I've got it on in the background now. Sporting are terrible. Bodo are definitely winning this. It's 31 minutes in. It's still 0-0. But for Atletico, I think that they don't need to come to score. So I think they just sit back behind the ball. A lot of you are saying 2-1. 2-1 win, but out. 2-1 Spurs. My prediction is scenic out. I don't know. That's probably not the best prediction. Because it's probably not going to happen. If Kinski starts, it'll be a cricket score. I don't know about that. 3-0 Spurs, we out. Well, if it's 3-0 Spurs, it will be 5-all on aggregate. If it's 3-all in full time, it will be 5-all on aggregate, which means you play added extra time. So you need one more goal. Safwan, you need to find one more goal because there has to be a winner. Maybe you think it goes to penalties and we lose on penalties. Maybe you think it's going to be 5-all aggregate and we lose on penalties. That's possible. Hey, Broadbean. Hey, 2-1 tomorrow. 6-4 on aggregate. 3-0 Athletic. 3-0 Athletic. Luke. Come on, Luke. Come on. Look, I know you're not one of us, but you've got to be realistic. That's like me saying Leverkusen are going to beat you lot 4-0. It's just like not going to happen. The game will be managed. I agree. Systemic Frog. Always sensible takes. Will edge it despite the score, but exit the competition. Yeah, I think so as well. And I think for most people, as long as we show up, as long as we have a decent performance for 90 minutes, I don't think anyone would be disgruntled with, oh, Sporting have scored. Sporting just scored. But I don't think that, I don't think that... I think we put up a fight. I don't know if we win it, but I think we put up a fight. So Sporting just scored from a corner, which makes their score 3-1 to Bodo on aggregate. 2-all. So look, you guys are all saying that we're going to be out the Champions League. Do we get out Champions League or Forest? Do we go all out? I think you go out all out in both, but you prioritize Forest. You having worked for TalkSport explains why you're a creator. I find creators have had a colourful life before becoming a creator, like someone new famous before they became famous. I don't know. TalkSport's actually a really big company, and I definitely wasn't in the limelight there. If anything, I would say it's probably because I'm an entrepreneur and I do a lot of like workshops and things, and doing like public speaking and things like that. But look, I've got more confidence coming on here. This is like my 80th video now. So 80 videos in 2 months. And I've got confidence because I've got more confidence because when I watch back my first couple of videos, it's all about getting better and doing it better. And hopefully I'm evolving every day and doing a better job of it, even if I haven't got the tech down yet. So although I can waffle sometimes like the best of us. 4-0. 4-0. 3-0. A lot of 3-0s. Guys, if you're saying 3-0, it can't be 3-0. Yep, he did. Yeah, I can see. Do you know what? I can see Spurs going on a run as well. And the reason why I say that is because we also, I think that we maybe, no, it's all speculative, but I think you've got Forest, international break, Sunderland, Brighton, Wolves. So everyone's talking about us needing to beat Forest and us needing to beat Leeds. But if we beat Forest, we can go on a run. And we can beat Sunderland. We can so beat Sunderland. Sunderland have dropped off Sunderland lost against Brighton. They lost against Fulham. They drew against Bournemouth, Sunderland. Sunderland are dropping off. If we can pick up some momentum, we can beat Sunderland and we can beat Brighton. We can beat Brighton if we pick up momentum. Problem is, we're not picking up momentum. And we lost against Brighton last game of the season last year. So I think that if you can do something against Forest, you get momentum, international break, players have a break, players come back in, you have squad rotation. Sunderland, I think you can win. Brighton, I think you can win. Wolves, away, tricky one for us because we always trip up at Wolves, but it's possible. We've got Villa away, and then we've got Leeds at home, and then you've got Chelsea and Everton. So I don't think our run is that bad. Everyone's forgotten. Everyone's forgotten that we have to play Sunderland and Brighton because everyone's focusing on Forest and Leeds. But you have to play every game. So, you know, we could easily beat Sunderland if we go on a bit of a run. But it's a big ask with where the squad's at right now. But after the international break, if we have Kudus back, if we have Paulinho and all these players start coming back, it will be a different squad by the end of the season. It will be a different squad. He just got the tying goal at Anfield. Tottenham balled out in the second half against Liverpool, and if there was to be one winner, it would have been Spurs. Yeah, fair outcome. Yes, I did go to uni, but it was a very long time ago. It was a very long time ago. Oh, time flies. Time flies. Yeah. Yes. Did go to uni. Went to UCL in London. UCL. Used to go to Spurs back in those days as well. After uni, after lectures. Used to get on the train and go to Seven Sisters. And then I got an internship at an English language school. And I had to get the train. Yeah, back in the old stadium days. What kids are listed? They're all listed. All the kids are listed. All the kids are listed. Yeah, all the kids are listed. Are they? Yeah, just having a look. Oh, they're not. Oh, they're not all listed. Oh, it's just Roswell, Ulasesi. It's just Roswell and Ulasesi. Huh? Oh, it's not. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. How do I share my screen again? I'm asking you guys if you could tell me. Here. Oh no, how can I do that? I'll have to disappear me for a second. I'll have to disappear me, but there you go. You've got Vicari, so you've got Gunter, goalkeeper, Roswell, Ulasesi, Richie suspended, and that's it. So the asterisks are the player list B. So we took out all of our B-list players, it looks like. I don't know. That's what it looks like because they were all listed earlier in the season. So, yeah, looks like we only have a couple. Yeah, send the email, guys. Send the email. I'm not very good at plugging it, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Look, any commentary, whether it's TalkSport, whether it's BBC, whether it's NBC or TNT or whatever. What's the one that Mika's on? Okay, yeah. Look, they all have their own style, right? So we all flit in and out in the same way that I flit in and out of channels, and you guys probably over here as well, depending on what's going on in the news and how good or bad we're doing. Confidence breeds confidence. Winning breeds confidence. So it's 4-0 to us. Oh, I love the positivity, Stig. I love the positivity. And you are one of the most positive Spurs fans out there because, yes, it was you. It was you. Your song choice last week when I asked everyone in the community tab, what song would you use to summarize Spurs right now? Yours was Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. I'm sure that was you, right? Always look on the bright side of life. So you are in the minority. You are more positive than me. So trophy to you. Trophy to you. You win the accolade for being the most optimistic, looking on the bright side of life Spurs fan. I don't protest over football. Big shout. Big shout. I don't think we beat Galatasaray. I think we can beat Liverpool, but I don't think we can beat Galatasaray. Oh, my goodness. Bodo just hit the crossbar. Bodo just hit the crossbar from a corner. I should do a watch along for Bodo and Sporting, shouldn't I? Who's Alan? We need to talk about Alan. Who's Alan? Who's Alan? Yes, do it for me. Do it for the shirt. I even put my shirt on today. Even put my shirt on. Where else have you worked? To work for TalkSport is no joke. I don't know. I don't. It's not. I think when you go to a company and you work for a company, you see it very differently because you see how it's operating from the inside. Do you know what I mean? I've had loads of jobs. I've had loads of jobs. I was a dive master. Told you guys that. Worked as a dive master in Thailand for a while. Yeah. Worked for the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply. You guys are like, who the hell is this woman? What has she done? But yeah, I did work for the Chartered Institute, Procurement and Supply. True story. True story. They are the regulators, by the way, for procurement professionals in the UK and around the world. Everyone's like, what the hell is that? I worked for a social media agency as well. Worked for a social media agency. We used to manage. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but we used to manage an F1 driver's social media. Let's just say that. Before he became huge, when he started racing, when he was about 18, 19, we managed his social media channels. So the guy that's probably one of the biggest F1 racers of the moment, we managed his social media. It was a Dutch social media agency, if that gives you any context. So there you go. But yeah, and then I gave up on the corporate lifestyle. I burnt out, gave up on the corporate lifestyle, went to Thailand, lived on an island, and then decided I wanted to help other people change their lives, and came back home, studied life coaching, did a diploma, and here I am talking about football. Just gave up my life doing life coaching. I'm still doing life coaching. I still do life coaching, corporate coaching, that kind of thing. Right, back to football, because I don't want to send you guys to sleep. I don't want to send you guys, you nosy lot. Like, Sarah, where have you worked? Yeah, but credentials matter, don't they? Yeah. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah. I think about the most I've spoken to online is over 1,000. So these watch-alongs need to get bigger, you know? But we're just starting. We're just getting started here. Igor is staying until July. Oh dear, there's so much to be determined. It's just so much to play for now. Yeah, I agree. Look, it takes time for any manager coming in. It takes time, you know? No, I disagree with this. I absolutely disagree with this, Jordan. I'm sorry, but we disagree. We disagree because I tell you why. He pulled Richie because Richie couldn't run. Richie could not run in the 96th minute. He completely lost his legs. And he bought on Roswell. And if you watch back our corner, Liverpool go on the counter. Roswell's the guy that tracks it back. And if Roswell's not on the pitch, there is no one there to block Salah, because that gave Olasesi and Dragusin time to get back. So that was a very, very good substitution from Igor Tudor, because if he doesn't make that substitution, Roswell doesn't come back and Liverpool score a second goal. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Anyway, guys. Anyway. Who's Ben? Who's Ben? Oh. Oh, you're on procurement. Cool. Cool. Yeah, but a lot of people don't know what procurement is, Callie. People are like, what is procurement? I think the club needs some better procurement, don't you think? They definitely need some better procurement on match days. They need to make sure they've got enough milk. They need to make sure they've got enough cups, because the cups keep breaking, even though, despite the fact that people say don't spend money in the stadium, people obviously still do. But, you know, they need to get it sorted. They need to get it sorted at Spurs, honestly. It's just a shambles. The logistics on operations on a match day, it's just terrible. And then they expect people not to moan about it. And I've emailed them before about it, even before I started this channel, and the club don't reply. They really don't reply. It's really bad. Really bad. Anyway, guys. Ben Collins. Oh. Yes, exactly. Get the Arsenal cups out. That was a stitch up, though. That was a stitch up. Anyway, guys, I'm going to drop off and I'm going to make dinner and watch the second half, I think, of this Bodo game. It actually looks quite a decent game. Bodo hit the bar just before half time, but their game is 3-1. So it will be interesting to see. I really want Bodo to go through just because we beat them last year. We've been the only English team this year to draw or not to lose against them, I think, because didn't City... City lost against Bodo, and we drew against them. So fair play to the team, because Bodo was, they've got through, progressed. Mindset coach at Bodo. Shows you it works. It works. Anyway, guys, right. Tomorrow I am going to be at the game. So because let's see what happens, but 8 o'clock kickoff. So by the time I get home, it might be like 11:30. So I'm not going to edit the match day vlog tomorrow. I will probably do that on Wednesday morning, which means I will probably post on Wednesday the vlog, and I will jump on live and do a post-match debrief with you all. The challenge being, I'm obviously going to double post on Wednesday, so I will find out something to post tomorrow. In terms of the finance stuff that I mentioned to you guys, I will do a breakdown of the financial stuff. We have less than 2 weeks till the next financial year comes out. And the problem with the financials is they are outdated. PS, if you are in the UK, PS, new tax year coming up, April the 4th. Don't forget to open your ISAs. No, this is not financial advice, financial guidance, but don't forget to open your ISAs before that, because the ISA law is changing in the UK. But in terms of the financials, that is going to be coming out in a couple of weeks' time. So I kind of I don't want to talk about irrelevant stuff, and I think it'll be more interesting to talk about when the new financials come out. So I'm going to hold off on that one. But otherwise, I will try and post something tomorrow. And I will see you all, hopefully, on Thursday with some positive news that we keep up with it. Look, if it's added extra time, I might not get home till 1 o'clock in the morning. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But all we are saying is give peas a chance. Peas, yes. Peace out. All right, guys, enjoy your dinner wherever you're watching this. If you're watching this back on replay, don't forget to like, subscribe and comment if you've made it this far. And to remind you all, I don't know if the QR code comes up in the replay. So if it doesn't, you can go back over and watch the Save Our Spurs. It says Save Spurs on the thumbnail. So you can go back over and watch that video. And I will see you all very shortly. Come on, you Spurs, maybe last Champions League game in a while. So enjoy your evenings, days, wherever you're watching this. And I'll see you all back here very, very soon. Bye for now.